Thanks, Deputy Speaker, and I commend the speech just made by the member for Jaiga. But I also rise today to speak on the Higher Education Support Amendment, response to the Australian Universities Accord Interim Report Bill 2023, and to give my full support to it. I'm a proud member of a government and to be a member of a party which places education at the core of our policy efforts. The Labor Party has always understood the importance of training and skills for all Australians. That is why, through this bill, we are implementing the recommendations of the University Accord Interim Report. I would like to extend my thanks to the authors of the report, especially Professor Mary O'Kane, AC, who has been successful in leading the largest review of tertiary education in 15 years. I look forward to the release of the full and final report. This interim report, which forms the basis of this bill, makes a number of recommendations for improving Australia's higher education sector. These are that we create more university study hubs, particularly in regional areas, that we scrap the 50% pass rule and require better reporting on how students are progressing, that we extend the demand-driven funding currently provided to Indigenous students from regional and remote areas to cover all Indigenous students, that we provide funding certainty during the Accord process, extending the Higher Education Continuity Guarantee into 2024 and 2025, and that we work with state and territory governments through National Cabinet to improve university governance. Deputy Speaker, this is all part of our work to undo the higher education policy failures of the former government and is essential to put education in Australia back on the right track. The shadows of past policies loom large, reminding us of missed opportunities and unfulfilled policies. It's a shame that the former government couldn't or wouldn't recognise the importance of higher education for the benefit of our country. The former government revealed themselves time and time again to be against giving all Australians their fair go in higher education. By making degrees both more expensive and more precarious, they've denied young Australians of their turn to have a fair go. By further marginalising already marginalised groups, they've done nothing but increase inequality in our country. Deputy Speaker, I'd be remiss to not mention that many of those sitting in this parliament receive their higher education for free, thanks to Labor policy. This bill is a reminder to all that we must reflect on the true purpose of higher education in our lives, that it is through education that we uplift individuals, families and communities. It is through education that we unlock the potential of every Australian and provide them with the tools for their future. It is through education that we will solve the problems of the future. Education should never be a barrier, but rather a pathway to greater opportunities. Deputy Speaker, that's why it's so important we pass the Higher Education Support Amendment Bill. We envisage a university sector that fosters a culture of compassion, one that is supportive to students. Education is not a solitary endeavour. It's a collaborative journey where institutions, educators and policymakers share the responsibility for nurturing the minds of the future. Deputy Speaker, here in the ACT, tertiary education has been a cornerstone of our contribution to the nation. We are not just the home of the Parliament and the public service, but home to Australia's only national university. Established in 1946, the Australian National University is the only university to be created by the Parliament of Australia. It represents a long-term vision that Labor had for Australia. We simply could not have achieved post-war prosperity without the skills that our national university was able to provide us with. Our nation's best and brightest have all at some point had an association with the Australian National University. For high-achieving school students across the country and the world, the ANU has been the light at the end of the tunnel, the reason why they push themselves. It's been the goal that has driven them. Our country would not have the knowledge, skills and curiosity we have today without the Australian National University. Many in this chamber and previous parliaments are proud alumni of the ANU, myself included. But, Deputy Speaker, just down the road from the ANU, the University of Canberra, which is really the better one according to my staff, sits at number 17 in international rankings for young universities, was this year named in the top 5 for reducing inequalities in the world, and produces some of the best teachers in the country. Not bad for a university that just recently celebrated 30 years. Deputy Speaker, these universities, along with the Australian Catholic University and the University of New South Wales, are contributors to local, national and international skills and knowledge. However, they are all located north side. In my electorate of Bean, there are no undergraduate university campuses. MacKillop College hosts postgraduate teaching classes. The Canberra Institute of Technology has campuses south side. In fact, my electorate office is in the same building as the Tuggeranong CIT campus. But if you're a school leaver or looking at furthering your qualifications and you live south of the parliament, your only option is to travel north. For some, this is no problem if you own a car and can afford the fuel and parking costs. But if you're reliant on public transport and a schedule that doesn't necessarily complement your class timetable, active travel or share a car, this is a major barrier. That's why I am particularly interested in seeing the potential that will come from this bill's provisions to expand local access through the establishment of regional university centres and establish a similar concept for suburban metropolitan locations. Deputy Speaker, I'm not arguing for a joint UC, ANU, ACU or UNSW campus in Tuggeranong right now, although I will not oppose this if it does come. But if this is a barrier in Canberra, I can only imagine that in our largest cities or rural communities, this is magnified at times tenfold. Rural university centres and their suburban or metropolitan equivalents will go far in reducing those entry barriers. Deputy Speaker, I'd like to provide a quick shout out to all those students in the ACT that this week will be doing their AST exams, and wish them the best as they deal with the stress that occurs on their pathway to hopefully getting better access to universities as well.
Thank you. I'm sorry, the debate is interrupted in accordance with Standing Order 43 and the debate may be resumed.